with a total of 54, followed by Quebec's Tommy Douglas with 30. Then it's Art Robbins, Jerry Goodfellow, Steve Crevier, Paul McMillan, Rueben McMurter, Tom Walther, all the way down to Steve Kea with a single point. One of our Castro Motor Plant regulars, Jerry Goodfellow, missed the last race at Shannonville as he was off in Suzuka, Japan for an 8-hour race. But Gary is here this weekend to try to wrestle away the championship from his Suzuki teammate, Michel Mercier. Conspicuous by their absence here at Calgary are two of our regulars, Art Robbins and Steve Crevier. We asked the Rothmans Honda rider, Art Robbins, about his problems here this weekend.
Well, it's very disappointing. We've had a few breakdowns and so on and so forth, and we were running in the points lead up to almost mid-season, and now it's basically put me out of the money and destroyed my season so far. I'm just hoping to come out and be able to run the last two races or whatever and show people that I haven't left the circuit or anything. I'm going to be back. The bike should run fine by then. We're just having a bit of trouble getting parts and stuff.
Vancouver's Steve Crevier also ran into some bad luck during practice, as he explains.
Well, on Friday I was getting to learn the track. I took quite a liking to it, and I really started pushing. Went in turn 2 to 3, and I got the front end light, locked up the front brake to go into turn 3, which is a lefter, dropped the bike down, fell on my head, and broke my collarbone. So the healing time seems to be healing quick, but doctor's orders for today are I can't ride, so I'm sitting this weekend out.
Welcome back to Calgary, Alberta, and as promised, we have two races on tap today. Our first event is the Denise Leathers Pro 750 production race.
And there's a rider who needs some luck right now if he's going to make the starting grid. Ken Lalonde trashed his machine, and Steve Crevier has not only loaned him half of his production bike, but with the help of Tom Walther and a few others has rebuilt it for him.
Well, there's the front row of the grid. Lalonde moving into position. Number 97, Richard Greff, Duhamel 76 will start in the second row. The crowd anticipating the drop of the flag to get this one underway. Murphy 87, Dick 101, and 99 Goodfellow, the three riders on the straightaway. It'll be Murphy, number 87, with the lead, but here comes Goodfellow on the inside. Beautiful job of outbreaking the Kawasaki rider Murphy into the first turn. 99, Gary Goodfellow, your leader. Murphy, 87, right on his rear tire there in second, but Goodfellow got in the draft and pulled a slingshot before they got to that first turn to take the lead away from Norm Murphy. Goodfellow, followed by Murphy 87 in second, 101 Steve Dick runs third, and then 185 Tommy Douglas up there in fourth. The field up through the series of right, left-hand S-turns here that make up this RaceCity Speedway, and Murphy's trying to stay with Goodfellow, but right now Gary pulling a little bit of a lead up on Murphy on that Kawasaki.
Well, Pat, they're coming into the area that I talked about earlier where those walls are awful close to the riders' heads as they lean the bikes over. Now, you just watch as they come onto the straightaway here, and you can see how close they are.
There's Goodfellow through the final turn. He's back onto that drag strip straightaway, takes a quick check over his left shoulder, and all he sees is that Kawasaki machine falling further and further behind. Goodfellow through turn 1. Murphy, 87, trying to stay with the Suzuki rider Goodfellow, but he continues to lose ground, and now it's Steve Dick, number 101, who's coming up to challenge. 185, Tommy Douglas in fourth, and that's a great ride for rookie Richard Greff from Montreal, number 97. He's right behind Douglas, running in the fifth place spot. There is the rider on the move, 101, Steve Dick. Dick is closing on Murphy as they go through the S's here. As number 41, Kevin Johnson, goes by, and there's Darrell Fletcher, the new Westminster rider. He simply cut that right-hand turn, got off the racetrack, but did a nice job of staying on the machine. The battle for second really heating up now as they run it through this big left-hand loop through the carousel. Just the one corner to go, and then they'll be back on the drag strip front straightaway. And Steve Dick is definitely putting the charge on. He's trying to pick up the draft of Murphy on that Kawasaki going onto the straightaway. Here is Dick. He pulls up alongside of Murphy. He will take over second place. And Craig, you saw the move there by Dick, working the draft. He waited to the last moment to pull the slingshot maneuver, and right now trying to run away from the Kawasaki rider.
Well, there's no doubt, Pat. I think we're going to see an awful lot of this drafting tactics going on this afternoon, and I suppose all the bikes are going to be using it, and especially those ones that have the added horsepower. You know, Steve's not been to too many of our championship races, but he's had a good weekend. I asked him why.
Well, I consider this home turf because I used to live in Calgary and Edmonton,
and I won quite a few Alberta championships years past. So I consider this home territory, and my bike is really working a lot better now. We spent a lot of money on it just in the last few weeks, put some new rods and pistons and stuff in it, and we've got the new Metzler L-compound tires too, which are working really well on this slippery surface. So we're right in there. We're doing just as good a times as anyone else, and we expect to win.
Well, there's a rider who didn't expect to start. Ken Lalonde is challenging side by side with number 83, Bill Smye of Edmonton. Lalonde will push his Yamaha just ahead of the Suzuki rider. The battle for fourth, 185, Tommy Douglas on the Yamaha, and right behind him, 97, Richard Greff. And remember, Greff is a rookie. He raced as an amateur rider last year. This is his first season in the professional ranks. And the Montreal rider doing a good job holding on to that fifth-place position. Here they come up through this section of left and right-hand turns, and Greff staying right with the second-year professional rider, Tommy Douglas. Up front, second-place battle, 101, Steve Dick trying to hold off 87, Norm Murphy, and then comes Douglas and Greff.
This complex, Pat, which includes a stock car oval, a road course as well, and a drag strip, is located about 15 minutes from the city of Calgary.
Enjoying a great battle, and they've watched number 14, Ken Lalonde, work his way into the top 10. Lalonde currently running in the 8th place position. Here is Norm Murphy, the 3rd place rider on that red and white Kawasaki, still trying to chase down Steve Dick, number 101. Murphy, who actually led it on the start, but Gary Goodfellow, as you saw, got by on that opening lap, and Goodfellow continues to stretch it out on the Suzuki 750. The close racing in the top 10 is a battle for fourth between the two Quebec riders, 185 Tommy Douglas, the second-year professional, up against the rookie number 97 Greff, and Greff is giving Douglas all he can handle. 41, Kevin Johnston, the Saskatchewan champion on the Suzuki, has made his way up into the top 10. Johnson getting a little wide, and there is the blue and white last lap flag out for Gary Goodfellow, number 99, and he has been running up front really since that opening lap. Nobody's been able to go out there, Craig, and run on the pace. Gary's just been tremendous here this afternoon.
Well, he's up for it, Pat. He just came back from Japan. He had a tremendous race over there on the 8-hour race on a production Suzuki. So he really knows his way around here this afternoon.
On the last lap, that race for fourth really heating up between Douglas 185 and Greff number 97. There is your leader, Gary Goodfellow. Just a couple of corners to go, and the checkered flag will be out at the start-finish line. Goodfellow back onto the straightaway. At the line, checkered flag. Gary Goodfellow wins it. Here is the race for fourth and fifth. It'll be Tommy Douglas in fourth. Richard Greff number 97 fifth.
That's it for the Pro 750 production race. Goodfellow with an effortless win. Steve Dick a distant second, followed by Murphy and Douglas. The Superbike race, where his Suzuki teammate Mercier is looking to solidify a second Canadian championship.
Gonzalez, and with me is Craig Hill.
And this is our feature race with 19 130 horsepower Superbikes ready to go, and with some $350,000 in prize and contingency awards. Pat, the competition is always tough.
Craig, there is some question about the weather, and I think Goodfellow is worried.
Starts to rain, we're going to stop.
Well, he's got a point, Pat, because these riders are all running on slick tires, and at 160 miles an hour, there's no place to go but down.
There is the pole sitter, Michel Mercier from Belleville, Ontario, on the Team Suzuki 750. Tom Walther from Surrey, BC. He'll ride one of the Honda Interceptor 750s. Rueben McMurter, number 24 from London, Ontario, on the Yamaha Motor Canada FZR 750. Steve Dick, number 101 from Burnaby, British Columbia, on a Honda Interceptor 750. And the veteran Norm Murphy from Shannonville, he'll be on the Team Tide Opus Ferrum Suzuki 750. And Gary Goodfellow, number 99, on the other Team Suzuki machine, riding out of Vancouver. Riders revving up those engines, waiting for the flag to drop, and there it is. Michel Mercier, number 1, away quickly. Goodfellow will follow his Suzuki teammate down the straightaway. Murphy, 87, getting up there into the front runners. They're side by side at the end of the straightaway. Mercier will hold off Goodfellow. Here's Gary through on the inside. He held him off for a while, but Goodfellow came barging through into the lead, going through that first turn. It's Goodfellow 99 leading. Number 1, Michel Mercier in the second place spot. 101, Steve Dick runs in the third place position. 24, McMurter in fourth. And 87, Murphy in fifth. And there's 185, Tommy Douglas, Craig. It looked like he just discarded a piece of the side paneling off his Yamaha.
Well, maybe he's trying to make the bike a little lighter, Pat. I don't know, because he's a little ways back from the leaders. But I'm sure Tommy's going to be working hard to get up there.
101, Steve Dick trying to chase down 1, Michel Mercier as they come up through the final couple of turns here on the opening lap. Goodfellow, 99, leaning that Suzuki right over through the right and left-hand turns back onto the front straightaway. Goodfellow pulling away here, Craig. He's really showing some horsepower in the early going. Number 1, Mercier in second. 101, Dick running third. 24, McMurter fourth. At the end of the straightaway, they break for turn 1. Mercier picking up some of that ground on his Suzuki teammate Goodfellow, but it's still Gary running very strong here in the opening laps. Through the left-hander, it's still Goodfellow holding on to that lead. Mercier has closed it up a little bit, and Steve Dick really doing a tremendous job staying with the front-running 2 Suzukis because he appears to be down on horsepower along the straightaway, so he's going to have to make it up in the turn.
Well, there's no doubt, Pat. I'll tell you, those Suzukis have got legs down the straightaways like I've never seen on a motorcycle before, and I have to admit myself that Steve is really doing a number to try to stay with these guys. He's having to ride the wheels off the bike in the corners.
Well, they're pulling about 15, 20 bike lengths on him on the straightaway, and by the time they get back down through the S's, he's right back up onto Mercier.
And there's the standings with Goodfellow in front, along with teammate Mercier on those very powerful Suzukis. But it is great to see Steve Dick staying up with the leaders. He's got a history of coming off his machine once in a while, and Glenn Friend on the Sunlight Wisp Suzuki is in 10th.
Steve Dick has just taken over that second place with a lovely pass going through the S's on Mercier. 24, McMurter in fourth, looks over his shoulder, and all he sees is that bright orange Team Tide machine. There's Mercier. Horsepower. He'll blow by the Honda machine at the end of the back straightaway to retake that second place position. So it is a war here for second place between Mercier on the Suzuki and Dick number 101 on that Honda Interceptor 750. Coming through the final turn and back onto the straightaway, Mercier. There he is, just pulling away from that Honda machine, and there's no substitution for horsepower here at Calgary.
And that's Rueben McMurter holding off a determined Murphy. And I asked Rueben what adjustments he had to make on this drag strip style road course.
Well, the wind is a big factor. It throws your gearing and things off. Yesterday we had a tailwind, today it's a headwind, so everybody has to guess at just what sprockets they're running the bikes for their top speed. If you go a little too short, then you're over revving down the straightaway a little bit too much the other way, you're not getting enough power. So there's some mechanical judgments here that have to be made and done right. The wind itself in the turns wants to push the bike one way and the other way, so the rider has to learn how to compensate for the wind leaned over. He'll be half leaned over, and the wind to push him over and lean him over a little bit more. So you got to learn how to steady yourself. I think in the wind, the trick is to learn how to go through the turn smooth, because anything, with the wind being gusty, it kind of throws you on and off. So the idea is to be prepared for it and be as smooth as you can, so when it does happen, you're in a good position to handle it.
Well, a couple of riders are in good position right now for that second place position. Number 1, Michel Mercier, and number 101, Steve Dick. They're still trying to chase down Gary Goodfellow, but they are in it thick for that second place position. And here comes Mercier again. He'll just blow by Steve Dick on the straightaway. And Mercier, time and time again, has left the Honda behind on the straightaway. Dick again, making up his ground through the S's and through these tight turns, because Mercier is showing awesome horsepower from that Suzuki. Steve Dick staying with Mercier as they go on the straightaway for a split second, and then Mercier pulling away.
And that's number 28, Gary Berg. He put in a big effort to be here today, and I asked him about it.
It's a superhuman effort. My crew has just been working like a couple of all-night shifts and lots of hours this week. We had that huge crash at Shannonville in turn 1 when I was battling with Karachi from Italy, and didn't realize that I'd broken away from him, and just tried to go in a little bit too hot and rolled it off the tires, and that was it. But the bike was, most of the people who saw it thought it was totally destroyed. We were going to have to start from the ground up with a new bike, but a lot of elbow grease, a lot of help from sponsors, and we managed to make it to the race a little bit late. So we'll have to start from the back of the pack, and I'll give it my best and see if I can work my way up to the front.
Well, Craig, do you think that you would be in any shape to do an interview, never mind race, after a fall like that?
Come on, Pat, you got to be kidding. At my age, they'd still be looking for my arms and legs. But you know, these guys wear excellent leathers, and the back protector that they wear under their leathers helps cushion the bumps when they do come off the bike.
Craig, there is Steve Dick. He's running over to his Honda, and he has crashed here in the carousel. So Dick perhaps pushing it just a little bit too hard that time through that particular section of the racetrack.
Oh, that's a shame, Pat, because he's been working hard all afternoon, and I know he's been pushing the bike through the corners. Perhaps his tires went off a little bit. I wouldn't want to say it this time, but I know he has been working that bike awfully hard in the corners.
Well, all of a sudden, Rueben McMurter, number 24, and 87, Norm Murphy, are battling now for third place. Here they come. They're not too far behind Mercier, and McMurter and Murphy have been running this close together throughout this one, and that looks like it's going to be one that's going to go right down to the closing lap as the Suzuki rider Murphy tries to chase down McMurter on the Yamaha. Further back in the pack, there's Berg. He almost crashed and did a nice job of saving it, Craig.
Oh, he did. He got both feet down in a hurry and straightened that bike right up again. But you know, Pat, the funny thing is Murphy, I've never seen him going this quick before. He is dialed in today.
Well, Murph is on a brand new Suzuki they built for this year's Superbike Championship, and it's taken them a few races to really get that bike up to its full potential. And there's Murphy. He has taken over that third place position. Murphy has put that bright orange Team Tide Suzuki machine into the third place spot.
Well, there's a lot of heroes here, Pat, but one of the unsung ones at each of these events is Tommy Atkins. We had a chance to follow Tommy as he pointed out things that he looks for when scrutineering a superbike.
Some of them for last lap of this, the fifth of 7 races to determine the Canadian Superbike champion for 1987.
And there's the man who could well be that champion, Michel Mercier, the 1986 #1 plate holder. In this race, he's in second place behind 99 Vancouver's Gary Goodfellow.
Well, Craig, I think Michel has ridden a very calculated race. I think he knew he just couldn't run on the pace of his Suzuki teammate Gary, so he is going to try to settle for a safe second-place spot. That's going to give him 12 more points. And there's a crash coming through that series of right and left-hand turns. It is Norm Murphy, the Team Tide rider, has crashed, and what a tough break for Murph. He was running in the third-place spot. This has got to be bitterly disappointing for the entire team because they'd worked so hard to get that motorcycle ready to go here at Calgary. There is your leader, Gary Goodfellow. Just a couple of corners to go for the Vancouver, British Columbia rider as he brings that Team Suzuki machine. Just 1 corner to go now. Going by the concrete wall, he'll be on the front straightaway looking for the checkered flag. And Gary Goodfellow has won this Superbike final. Number 1, Michel Mercier, will finish in second.
Well, there's a shot of Norm Murphy. He's up and around. He looks a little bit sore, and I think he's put a bad hurt on his bike, too.
Well, there is the winner, Gary Goodfellow, and your final standings. It's another 2-win day for Gary Goodfellow as he outclasses everybody in the Superbike race and in the Pro 750 production final.
And what it also means is that Goodfellow, with 2 races left, is the only rider that has a chance to catch Mercier for the Canadian Championship.